Well, you're probably just like me whenever I was starting bow hunting. You want the best of the best. You're trying to figure out what broadhead you want to use, mechanical or fixed blade. Is there really a clear winner? Is one better than the other? Or is it all subjective? I bet you're just like me back when I was starting out, watching countless YouTube videos, seeing which one is the best of the best. So, coming from an average everyday hunter, this is just my 2 cents. Nothing more, nothing less. What is the best, a fixed blade or a mechanical? What brand is best? All that advertising and marketing gets shoved down your throat, you don't know what to choose. This video, you're not going to find any ballistic gel testing between 10 different broadheads, but I'm just going to give you a little bit of insight as to what I think, what I've figured out through the years, what I think I've figured out. When you're choosing that pointy thing that goes on the end of your arrow, you're either deciding between one of these, focus, not focusing, or one of these. Notice I don't have one of those in hand because I'm not currently shooting them. I haven't shot them in years. Last time I shot them, well, it turned into this. The past several years I have been a fixed blade broadhead guy myself. If you ask me what broadhead I was shooting, what I recommended, it was always going to be fixed blade. But today, I'm not so sure. The broadhead debate, it's not very clear cut and dry. There are so many different factors that come into what broadhead do you want to shoot. For me personally, what I think is the number one factor when it goes into choosing your broadhead is going to be the number one factor that I think when it comes to choosing your broadhead is going to be penetration. When I first started bow hunting, I used a mechanical broadhead. The Rage, the old dreaded Rage that everybody either loves or hates. After having not one, but 2 deer slip away from my fingertips due to the penetration, I threw those mechanical broadheads away. As a bow hunter, or hunter in general, we've all missed deer, we've all had bad shots, we've all had deer get away from us. It's the worst feeling in the world, we all know what it is. It eats us up. And when that happens, we replay that shot over and over again in our minds, and we think what could have went better, what could have went different, what do we need to change? Oh, thank you. After the first time having that deer get away from me, I was set in stone that it was the broadhead. I needed to get rid of the mechanicals and move on to the fixed blades. But as I've grown through the... Stop. No. Let go. Now, me personally, I love a good blood trail as much as the next guy. Seeing what those Rage broadheads can do with that 2-inch cutting diameter, seeing the red carpet that it rolls out, it is very enticing. I want complete pass-throughs. I want no room for error. Mechanical broadheads were not giving me the penetration and the pass-throughs that I wanted. Or so I thought it was the broadheads. The more I've thought about this through the years, I have come to the conclusion that I don't think it is so cut and dry. When I was using those mechanical or Rage broadheads, I was also shooting a very light carbon arrow, a very flimsy arrow with basically no backbone, no kinetic energy. The arrow probably weighed like 300 grains. I don't know. It was light. So what I believe to be the root of the problem was I was shooting this big broadhead, 2 inches of cutting diameter, and a very flimsy light arrow that just did not have the force, the momentum, the kinetic energy to pass through that deer. So finally, I started shooting an Easton FMJ 11.3 grains per inch arrow, very heavy arrow. When I decided to switch it over to the fixed blade broadhead, I also made the decision to shoot a heavier arrow. So I switched over to the Easton FMJ arrows. And I also started shooting a 125 grain broadhead just for a little added extra oomph behind it. So my new setup was just under 500 grades total arrow weight, including the broadhead. And could you guess what happened? Lo and behold, the next 2 deer that I put an arrow through stuck into the ground next to it. It was perfect. Beautiful pass-throughs. I didn't lose any arrows and have them break off when the deer was running through the woods. So as you can imagine, once I started seeing success with my fixed blade broadheads, I was set in stone. I was always going to shoot fixed blade broadheads. However, lately, I've been thinking maybe you can shoot mechanical blade broadheads and still have success, still get complete pass-throughs. I know some of you guys, some of you hunters, they love that 2 inches of cutting diameter, 3 inches, 8 inches, whatever it is. I get it. Y'all love blood trails. Y'all love an easy track job. I understand. So what I have found when you shoot mechanical blade broadheads, you also need to have a heavy arrow. You need to have a lot more kinetic energy and momentum than I did when I was shooting those flimsy carbon arrows. So if you're going to shoot a mechanical blade broadhead, just have a heavy arrow with it, and I think you'll still get some decent penetration. Maybe not quite as much as a fixed blade broadhead, but I think you'll still get the penetration that you want, that you need when you're shooting a deer. There are countless studies and videos that prove mechanical blade broadheads will give you good penetration, good outcomes. Me personally, like I said, I believe penetration is the #1 factor that comes into choosing your broadhead. Why can't I say fucking broadhead? Me personally, I think penetration is going to be the #1 factor that plays into choosing your broadhead. I don't think mechanical blade broadheads are the end-all be-all. I'll probably still shoot I will still probably shoot fixed blade the majority of the time, but lately I have been considering switching over to a mechanical blade. If you do decide you want to shoot a mechanical blade broadhead, I think you need to have a few things checked before you do. #1, it's going to be your total arrow weight. I do believe you need a heavy arrow if you're going to shoot a mechanical blade broadhead. The cutting diameter and the force that it takes the blades to open and cut through all that surface area takes a little bit more momentum and kinetic energy. Shoot a heavy arrow, it's going to help tremendously, I promise. Trust me, bro. #2 is going to be the poundage that you shoot. Me, I'm shooting 70 pounds. Back when I first started, I was probably shooting, I don't know, 50 maybe. So, like I said, with the combination of my lower poundage bow, you can still kill a deer with a 50-pound bow. My lower poundage bow, my flimsy arrow, and my giant mechanical blade broadhead, it was a recipe for disaster. And it ultimately led me to have a vendetta against mechanical blade broadheads. If you are shooting a heavier poundage bow with a heavier arrow and a mechanical blade broadhead, you will be okay. You will get the penetration that you need. May not be as good as a fixed blade broadhead, but you will still get good outcomes. Like I said, this is just coming from an average bow hunter. I'm not a scientist. I have not done studies with ballistic gel. There are plenty of other guys who have done that already. Go watch those videos, have your own opinion, shoot what you want to shoot, be confident in it. If you've had success with a mechanical blade broadhead in your entire setup, keep shooting it. I'm sure if you have, you're not watching this video. But if you were like me and you had some bad outcomes with a mechanical blade broadhead, or so you thought, then maybe a fixed blade is right for you. At the end of the day, everybody's going to have their own opinions. This is just mine. Who knows, after this I may go down to Bass Pro, pick up some Rage broadheads, and see what they have to offer.